you know, one of the things that is difficult is that since we've announced crossing across the street, since we've announced it, all like the naysayers are all about how dangerous this is. And do you know how dangerous you're doing when you know you're putting people in danger and all of this stuff? So, and you don't know how to do what you're doing. So I figured that I said, but we are doing a training. So I did this in Washington D.C. It is possible. So I thought when I can't be, maybe we are as bad as that, but it is possible. So I do want to thank first the Lewiston Police for coming. So we've got Officer Ryan and right here, and then Officer Caden.
How's it going?
All right, good. And then we have some people from Tri-County right here, which is Bernie right here. So she'll also be giving us some instructions. And then the ones we've been working with is also CCI, right? And so everybody knows Ruby because she was here the last time, right? And Danielle right here. So I'm going to really turn it over to them. The goal of this evening is to really just educate us about downtown Lewiston and what the things we should do, things we should not do. And you're free to ask any questions and use their kind of expertise to help us along the way so that we're as effective and as well as safe. One of the things that I want to make sure it's in my letter again in the letter this weekend is that we're not here to solve all the problems of downtown Lewiston. We follow Mother Teresa's idea. That's what I'm trying to promote. Is that while the powers to be can are working on that, for better or for worse, however they're working on it and fighting over it. Mother Teresa said, because someone had asked her, how come you don't do any changes, some systemic changes to it with the poor? And she's like, look, while those who have the authority to do all that, I just got to make sure this person has something to eat or isn't frozen or dies with dignity. So then that's our kind of job. We're on the low end of the totem pole, right? As to just meet people, talk with them, give them something to eat, give them something to cover themselves while the powers to be work out whatever problems they need to be working out. But if any of you want to be advocates for the homeless, you're more than welcome to do that, but that's not part of this group, okay? So I'm going to turn it over. We didn't really discuss how the presentation was going to be, other than Officer Ryan is one of the key people I know, so I don't know if they got a chance to talk.
I got here first, right?
Yeah, so you talk about it. I got to pick on you first.
Shows on broad, but I can handle it. All right. So, well, thank you for inviting us. Do you want me to stand up? Or?
Yeah, that would be good. And you got to put one of these on because, well, you
Trying to get out of it.
yeah.
Hey.
Here's the other one. Just so that when he edits the video, he can.
Oh boy.
You know.
I do my hair and makeup. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But you can stand up right in the middle.
What's that?
So I'll jump in when I can.
You can, yeah. So,
Officer Ryan, you got right in the middle here.
oh my God.
You're our
Yeah,
friend.
check my fly. Oh, it's,
You could be among the traitor friends.
I trust you. You got my back? All right.
I
Okay. All right.
Not judgy at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Let's all hold hands. Okay. All right. So thank you for inviting us. Basically, as you can see, our community is changing a lot, but we're not immune to anything that's going on in the world, society. Quick background, I mean, I came from Catholic school, went to Holy Cross, went to Lewiston High. Careful, don't stray. Ended up working for Portland PD for 14 years. So obviously got accustomed to Oxford Street Shelter and everything that's going on there. And ironically, I've been here for 4 years, and I feel like it's followed me. We have a lot of folks dealing with or struggling with mental illness, substance abuse, and you see them more because I think the stigma is kind of getting thrown out the window. So you see them more. They're right in our community. They're not hidden anymore. Some ask for help, and others turn down help. And I don't want to speak for Bernie, but Bernie and I walk around a lot. Officer Tozier also. And there are some that say, nope, we're all set. But majority, I'm sure, would appreciate any baskets you guys are talking about putting together. And especially with the colder season coming, I'm sure they would appreciate that. even just, recognizing them. And then, if you have a little something you want to give them, or making that connection and offering, if they want to come to a meeting or anything like that, I'm sure it'd be much appreciated. The only thing we stress is just be aware. Be aware, go in pairs. I wouldn't suggest doing any outreach at night. Just because your well-being, your safety is paramount. Again, a lot of those folks are suffering from different issues, and it doesn't take much to trigger them. I would not be handing out money. It would be more like an item, or a blanket or a jacket with the winter season, mittens, hats, things like that. How can I say it? Where we are, it's going to increase, the population is going to increase until something happens from higher levels. Not a miracle would be nice, but the powers that be decide what we're going to do, and have a day shelter or have a night shelter, or however the city chooses. But I will sit down and I will let Bernie go next and tell you her background and kind of what she's dealt with. And if you have any questions, just ask away. But thank you. You're on.
Wow. Okay. Hi, I'm Bernie. I've been in this field for 16 plus years. I went to college learning about psych and all that good fun stuff I love and enjoy doing. So I worked for Sweetser, then Tri-County. For some time, I keep going back to Tri-County. So that's my preference. I ride along with these two young men and other officers just to work with homelessness, substance, mental health issues, refer them over to open places for like psych, mental health, shelters, stuff like that. I do deal with a lot of clientele that do not want help. That's part of addiction. Some psych, people that are not med compliant, meaning they don't take their meds. They've been kind of like not showing up for appointments, and doctors these days are showing up short. A lot of psych wards and stuff are overbooked. So we're all trying to work together. Like for Sweetser, CCS, okay, I got it wrong first time. But we all try to kind of go out, meet with different clientele. I deal with a lot of them daily, even on weekends when I'm not supposed to be on the books. I do right wrong. A lot of people that do some substances, I would highly recommend not giving out cash, not pulling out your wallet, purses, and of course, buddy systems. Not every one of them are violent, but after dark, they do come out. They can be violent. Addiction kicks in. They need their fix. Needles. We have needle exchange out here. We have all kinds of groups that are starting up. Housing is a real bad weight on me because there's none out here. Even if we find something that's like $1,200 to $1,600, 1-2 bedroom apartments, seeing a lot of elderly being kicked out. First priority, kids and elderly are mine. Everyone's my priority, but my first ones of making sure the kids are in homes, shelter with family, and the elderly are safe. They can't afford the rent. Their checks don't even meet standard of rent out here. We deal with different kinds of sources. GA is starting to kick in and help out with a lot of like rent, deposits, stuff like that. We're trying to kind of move a little bit going around here. Am I forgetting anything? No, I hit it all? Tosia, you want to get up here and speak? The last 6 months, oh my God. I left my book in the car because I was late coming.
So one of the things is
You got
we've created
a log.
we create a log. We do projects for you. it's, so that's how officers that come in contact with people that are homeless or
Yep.
unhoused, they'll start a PSY call. And I asked our crime analyst, could she run the numbers for the last 4 months? What kind of calls? So I don't know if I jotted down. You don't need to give me that. You don't need to give me that. You don't need to give me that. So in the last 4 months, so since April 3rd to September 25th, there's been 150 calls. And that doesn't count on that, right. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, she's on her own doing outreach, and then she logs those separate calls. So that's in addition to this. So do you have an idea roughly about?
Each month I hit, the most I've hit is 205. And this past month, I had touch base of 156, if I'm correct, I could be mistaken. But it's 100 and something I meet with, could be the same old people, but they're just outreach people. I reach out in the community. I go to Trinity, through the park, I go to Library, I go down, up and down the streets, in the alleyways. I'll call them out. I never walk into an alley by myself. I always call for backup if I need it. I want that secureness with a client to understand I'm not an officer. I'm just here to help get them resources that they need. And to believe it or not, ice storms, snow, rain, sleet, you name it, I sit with them. If they can do it, I can do it. My belief, if they can trust me, they're gonna keep coming back. And it may be the same old, but I sit here until they can fully trust and try to get that little leeway on where can I go next? Where's the next shelter? And I call throughout the state of Maine to get people out, even out of town. It's not to get them out, it's to get them in secure places. They know where to get their substances here in Lewiston and in Portland. So my number one priority, what do you think, is outskirts. Getting them where they can't find it. And getting them where they can be safe and recover and take the steps to recovery. That's for substance. For mental health, it's a ball game. I think we all play ball with that. But I'm here. I'll take the time. They may scream, holler, call me all the names. And all I say, okay, I'm sorry. What can we do? How can we go about this? I hear it all the time. You guys ain't doing smack for me. There's other words they use besides that. So, and I mean, I'll sit there, there is things, but they have to want to take that part and charge for themselves. I can only do so much for somebody. I'm not gonna do it fully. If you don't want the help, they're not gonna recover if they don't want it. Okay, one. Number two, as for mental health, yeah, we're kind of not a lot of case management. I'm hoping that this year will come more case management openings. We all are drowning in that, but we are trying to pull. I help with our ACT team up Tri-County when I need to step in. They ask for my opinion. Can you help me with this client? I'll go. I get called to it. I'll do it. I never back down from something that I need to do.
You said something that just I never really thought of, is that Lewiston, they're one of the reasons why they come here is because they can get their fix, right? Because Lewiston right now is having a drug problem right here, and so that's why. And I think Ryan, you said that first to me, and I was like, I had never really even thought of that. But how are we working, and what can happen? I mean, with all of the, if Lewiston is becoming a place where drugs are easily accessible and where the homeless can get there, they can get what they need or what they want.
So if they're in Lewiston, you'll hear a lot. Well, we've been dropped off one-way ticket. And I said, what do you mean by that? They shipped us because they were getting tired of us. Or they shipped us here because you guys have the housing. You have this, you have that. It's an excuse after excuse. The fix is people that from out of town that come up here, the trafficking and these poor guys deal with it day in and day out. They could do the bus, but it doesn't stop if they don't tell who it is dealing, who's getting the supplies. And they can go fill you in with all that, because I don't know it, and I really don't care to. That's too much on my plate. But downtown Lewiston, you'll hear it. You'll see people shooting up in the park. It's no joke. It is. They're finding syringes. I'll even point them out. Hey, Officer Gagnon, there's one right here. There's this, there's that. They're getting their fix. No one knows where they're getting it, how it's coming in. The officers do. That's not my business. I'm just here to help out. Portland, Bangor, Lewiston, we're quite up there. We're highly up there. And maybe these young ladies can fill you in on more stuff. But that's what I deal with a lot. I'll give you that.
2 mics.
Oh, okay. She's got 2. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool beans, thank you.
No worries. So I'm Danielle Parent. I'm with Community Concepts. We are a community action agency. So we provide a range of services in Lewiston, including heating assistance and weatherization. We have some low-income housing portfolio for units for individuals to be housed in. We provide Head Start services and children's services. And we are located right in Kennedy Park. So we see the problem growing day after day after day. And we decided we wanted to be part of the solution. So we actually are also starting to do some more homeless outreach work. And so today I've prepared a little document that we can go through around real practical tips to keeping yourself safe in community outreach. And just for some context, my background is in behavioral health and substance use and mental health service delivery, both in DC and then in Portland for the last 10 years. So pretty familiar with city-based community outreach work. I can get some help passing around.
Take one and pass it right around. Thank you.
And a lot of these items that you'll see on here, I've got extras. We need
Gotta
more.
be safe.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Awesome. I'll take one.
There
Just
might
like
be
that.
some of that.
Ryan, you got enough? I got
So-
a couple here. Hey, there's some more here. Hold on. Oh, thank you.
So as we go through some of these, they may seem very common sense, but it's easy to kind of forget the basics when you are doing this community work, and it can be anxiety provoking if you're not used to working with individuals or doing street outreach. And so the first thing I really want to clarify is that you should always outreach in pairs or groups. You should never outreach alone, no matter what. You should always bring a cell phone or a communication device. Somebody should always know where you're going. Somebody should be available that is not doing community outreach when you are doing that outreach, that's available to take your check-in calls. They should know where you're going, and you should have regular check-ins so that they know that you're safe, so that you have a feedback loop of communication. That way the person who's staying put in a safe environment, if they don't hear from you, they know where to send somebody if they aren't able to reach you. So it's really about setting yourself up for safety in advance when you're planning your community outreach. You're going to want to make sure that your emergency contact numbers are programmed in there if you need to have crisis services or the law enforcement non-emergency line, 911, Project Support You if there's a contact information for that. Those are all good things to have handy in your phone. And also, again, the person who's going to be tracking you doing community outreach. Now, if that's an organized event, we have some tracking forms so you can really kind of structure that. But if it's, a pair or a group going out, just one or pair or a group going out, then somebody at home could be doing this tracking with you, just making sure, every half hour, every hour, whatever you guys agree upon, you have that check-in point. When you set out to do community outreach, you want to make sure that you are wearing clothing that is weather appropriate and is also appropriate for the conditions you're going to be working in. Folks have talked about needles. It's a real reality in every inch of this city community at this point. And so having shoes that aren't going to be penetratable because we have communicable diseases from the needles and whatnot, and being very aware of your surroundings when you are walking around in the community. You should know the area you're going to first. Now, this means driving by in daylight, means taking a look at the map, knowing if something goes hairy, where am I going to go? Where are we going to divert to? So if you're on street A, where are you going to go to if you need to get out of that situation? It's also important to keep yourself exitable. So to keep it so that you have a clear exit. So don't trap yourself behind a group of people in a corner backed up against a building. That's going to create a really unsafe potential situation for yourself. So make sure that you have the ability to turn around and get out of that situation at any time that you might need to. Most of the time, you're going to find that people are really welcoming and really want the support, or they're going to be very clear that they don't, and then you know you can just walk away from that. There will be times that you'll see individuals who start to escalate in behavior. Maybe they start posturing or their voice starts getting raised, or you can see that they're behaving pretty erratically. Those are situations you want to exit from. You can always come back, you can always revisit, and always try outreach again in the future, but make sure you're keeping yourself safe. You want to build relationships with local law enforcement so that you feel comfortable making those calls. They're going to know the communities where it's safe to do outreach, where it's not safe to do outreach. They're going to know individuals or areas where you should take particular cautions. And so it's good to have those conversations in advance, and I'm sure that they'll share a little bit about kind of those areas. Again, you want to check in often. You also want to introduce yourself very clearly. So it can be pretty scary if you're an individual whose home is the street, to have somebody approach you and not know why they're approaching you, right? It creates a defense mechanism sometimes that creates a situation that can be unsafe unnecessarily. So announce yourself, share why you're there, and if they ask you to leave, please do. So be very transparent about why you're there. If you can wear something that identifies you, like a name badge or a lanyard or something, so that they're aware that you're there for a particular reason, that can be really helpful, because again, it's scary. You're gonna wanna make sure you don't have a lot of valuable items, particularly, big old purses on the side of you, because while most people have, good intentions, and in most circumstances, they wouldn't be looking to cause any harm, when you're really that desperate, when you've got substance abuse or when you have untreated mental illness, there are often times that you become really need-seeking in a way that, you're desperate. And so that hanging purse over there becomes a real eye, attraction. And it just sets you up for a position where it's not safe for anybody. So keeping your valuables locked away in a car or at home is always helpful. Make sure you do have that phone and,
Wedding rings.
oh, good point, yes.
Wedding
Diamond
rings,
earrings.
probably leave those home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't carry necklaces.
We're not trying to make you paranoid, we're just,
It's
No.
just,
They
it
even
doesn't
ask
bother
me
you.
for money.
Right.
And I'm
That's-
like,
no, my wife gives me a debit card, that's all.
come on, Gabby, you can draw,
No.
So what I'm saying is, like, if they're not getting anything, and someone asks for $1 and you pull out your billfold and they see that,
Yeah.
they're gonna set it up and they're gonna grab you at the next corner and grab your wallet.
You
And
never,
then,
yeah.
then your experience of traumatizing event, and then it's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So we're just saying, just stay away from that, that's all.
And there's lots of ways to manage that question. So you will get asked inevitably if you're doing community outreach for money or for some possession you might have on you that you weren't intending to give out. And for money, it's easy to say, I don't carry cash on me, or I don't have any cash with me at this time. Or you can be very transparent about, I'm here to offer this, I'm not here to offer cash. And so you have to be very honest about it and very direct, or the question will continue to come. I would really avoid giving any personal information. If your name's Joe, Joe's fine, but don't give Joe and your social security number and your date of birth and where your address happens to be, because you might have a visitor. Consider establishing a code word with whatever group you're with. So if Bernie and I are out there in the community and I feel uncomfortable, I feel like things are hairy, maybe she's not seeing what I'm seeing over here, I might, be talking about going to get that bologna sandwich we had in the car. Make it something that's probably, normal to have in the course of the conversation, but something that's going to indicate clearly, we got to get out of here. We're not in a good situation.
Get that appointment coming
Yeah,
up.
Yeah.
Something that,
Something
absolutely.
short, sweet, and straight to the point. Everybody understands it.
And you want to agree to that before you walk out the door,
And
before you
don't-
get into the street.
Don't even leave anybody behind. Just, hey, we gotta go. Sometimes it takes that bluntness. We have this appointment we have to go to, and just go. Nobody ever second judge your partners. You're Okay.
It really is about trusting your instincts. You're gonna get that gut sense, and if you get that gut sense, leave the situation. That's not gonna happen every time. It's probably not gonna happen the majority of the time. But when that happens, you gotta trust it. You can always go back. You can always continue outreach in the future. You can't avoid a situation once it's become unsafe. Then you're in a situation where you've got to get out of it. And again, beware of your surroundings. That's really key. So when you're walking into a situation, do a quick surveillance. Know where your exit's going to be. Make sure you have your code word. Make sure you don't have any belongings out there, and that you're ready to announce yourself and explain why you're there. Provide whatever service or information you're willing to provide at that time, and then exit.
Stay in an open, never enclose yourself in an alley. Don't ever think twice about going through it, just for safety purposes. Stay in open field, open everything.
So the Project Support You team and law enforcement have lots of resources for local community information, but you can have all the resources in your pocket, and the first one that somebody's going to ask you for is going to be the one you don't have. So I left a couple of numbers down here just for ease. 211 is the statewide directory of social services that has everything from heating assistance to homeless services, domestic violence services. It's answered 24 hours a day. So if you need information about where somebody might be able to go to get mental health services or to get food services, those are all going to be accessible through calling 211. And then the statewide crisis line is for anybody who might be experiencing an acute situation. If you're not sure, you can always call. Typically, the person has to consent to that treatment, so that may be a tricky thing, but law enforcement can certainly engage mental health professionals as necessary as well.
If you guys are like going to do this during the day and we're around, we could probably be a quicker resource, because what happens is after hours, they say anything after 5 or from Friday to Monday morning, crisis line just calls the local law enforcement agency to just say, hey, this person's in crisis, this person said they want to hurt themselves, and then they just call us. So if we're available when you guys go out, I'll give you, a number. You can reach out, and we can evaluate from there.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up with some general questions. Thank you very much. Okay, so my name's John, my wife Amy. Thank you very much for your time. Very grateful. Whom can we expect to encounter when we begin our outreach? And I'm going to give you a little background. Amy and I have about 10 years of experience serving Sunday morning breakfasts at Calvary Mission. Okay, and whom we see we see very few members of the immigrant community. And maybe you can give us your thought. There's a second category of, sorry for generalizing, second category of people we see are people who are housed but are, pretty food insecure. And then when Calvary Mission this past winter was opened overnight, we saw an entirely different population that we'd never seen before, and we haven't seen them since. So, is that something somebody can follow up with?
No, that's fine. Tozier? No, so you're describing all individual groups, right? The immigrant population, they reach out to
Immigrant resources.
the leaders, the community
all of them.
leaders.
Yeah.
And, right, you don't see a lot of them in Candy Park or going to the soup kitchen. Or,
What's happening, but
No.
I'm left with the impression that, people representing their nationalities, their race, they got their stuff together.
They,
Believe it or not,
Yes, please.
they don't.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
They just have certain kinds of resources that some of us Maine people or other nationalities that, we have set up, but people are just afraid to reach out, or they just don't want to. They have a MERS team that I go to groups for and meet up with people, different nationalities, and there's Russian, there's, Samoans, there's way different mo. They just have their own way of feeling comfort, because they deal with a lot out here too. It goes both ways. Us, whites, blacks, Hispanics, everybody deals with their own kind and then gets harsh. So what we try to do is we all try to work together so everybody can understand where different cultures come from. We came up with what's that called, the group thing, a police reform. We did, am I saying that right?
You mean Elizabeth Street?
No, at the school,
At the forum?
the forum, that's what it's called.
Yeah, that was about.
We did that, and we also had like the community to come in, touch base. It always not what it seems to be, but we're trying to pull little here and there. Because a lot of people are feeling unsafe in the areas. As for the church that you guys cook your breakfast at, yeah, we get a lot of families that cannot afford some food. Like, for instance, high prices in rent, electricity, cable, they can't even afford cable. I know me and these officers go to multiple houses. Kids are going without because they don't have the money for food.
They ask us for the same things.
Yep.
And what I have found, and what I hope that this group can bring to the community too, is, something expected, I guess, so to speak, because when they come to Calgary for breakfast, they know what to expect.
Right.
They know they're gonna get a bag of food. If they wanna take it with them, they get enough food for breakfast and for lunch. If they stay, they get breakfast, so they really know what to expect. The things they ask for are the same things every week. They always want a trash bag to keep things dry. They want baggies. They want things you would never think of. You go to throw a bread bag away and they say, can I have that bag,
Yeah.
So I think,
As they keep their stuff dry.
right, and
Yeah.
what we've seen with Calgary is that the population, the general population that comes there knows what to expect. Pat has designed it in a way that if they ask for something she doesn't have, she's like, nope, don't ask again. And they
Yeah,
don't,
right. Yeah.
But the population that came just to sleep there,
Yeah.
there were no rules. And so it was a pretty uncomfortable place to walk into
Yep.
Sunday mornings, There were no kind of rules for them. And so it was never smooth. It never ran smooth. The breakfast runs smoothly because they kind of know what to expect. So I'm hoping that with this group of people, we become a well-oiled machine and they know what to expect when they see us. They know what they can ask for. They know that they can't approach us, not, those kind of things. So I don't know what that adds to this, but I think just like some sort of routine is
Go ahead.
I was just going to share that homelessness doesn't discriminate.
No.
So often what you identify as homeless is you see street level homeless, but homeless can mean unstable housing. It can mean 8 families living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and it looks different for everybody.
It does.
What you'll see, why you won't see sometimes more of the immigrant or asylum seeker populations is because they have a tight community. And so folks are going to triple up, quadruple up, 10 families in a 2-bedroom apartment before they're going to let a member of their community be street level homeless. So there's levels of that, right? So that doesn't mean that's secure housing in any stretch of the imagination. You'll also find, domestic violence shelters are pretty quick to get people in. So there's populations where there are specific shelters accessible, and community responses, really. What you'll find in street level homeless outreach is individuals who are going to struggle with the rules of a shelter, who are going to struggle with staying engaged in social services, who are often not adherent to medications if they have a mental health condition, or they are experiencing substance use disorder, and they're not able to maintain daily, the requirements of going to a shelter and checking in and keeping your belongings in ways that, so you're going to see that more often in street level outreach. That's not to say that there isn't a pervasive homeless community of all genders, races, ages out there.
Right.
But there are some good resources for youth, for domestic violence in the area, and there are resources for mental health and substance use disorder if you get a person in the right moment when they're ready and that resource is available. But there's not a lot of shelter resources in this community. And so what you're gonna see is a lot more street level homeless activity than you would have in the past.
And our shelters are booked,
We have 4
Thanks,
shelters in the city.
yes. And mostly males, there's
There's none in Auburn.
none,
There's not an Auburn.
none.
We have 4.
And the ones in Lewiston have some rules.
They
And-
have
and-
rules.
And, right, and some of these folks don't, they push the boundaries. They
Yep.
don't like rules, they don't like guidelines, and unfortunately, that was probably the primary issue we had at that
Yeah.
emergency shelter, because we were, you know, it was COVID, there was a lot going on, but there was zero structure, and it unfortunately, the building suffered, and the area around the shelter suffered.
Yeah.
And you know, we did our best, but it was just set up, and then it was just, okay, now we have to react to what
Yeah.
is going on. But no, we have, St. Martin,
We got St. Martin's, we got St. Catherine's,
St. Catherine's,
we got Hope Haven, we have Shelter by Jesus. Some of the 4 we have, yes, most of them are males. I
Okay.
hate the fact that it's not equal, but there are more male population than females. But we are seeing a lot more females coming aboard.
so a lot of them, what they do is they're called couch surfing. They'll just go and they'll squat in an apartment, or they'll, you know, team up with Johnny Smith on Bait Street and, hey, I'll, you know, give you $20 so much, and kind of sleep on your couch, and they do that until there's so much foot traffic, and then Johnny gets evicted because the landlord's had it with all the complaints and the foot traffic going back and forth, and then he gets evicted, and then they go on to another one on Bartlett Street, and they jump around. So, and that's usually how it comes on our radar, because of increased calls for service to a certain location. And then we get there and we're realizing that who we're dealing with, and, so, but these are all things, that's why we try to provide Bernie as outreach before they get evicted, because we also work with the sheriff's department. Deputy will call Bernie and be like, hey,
Yep.
I mean, today, call us.
Auburn. Well, we have a second, now, there's
We need more
one
Bernie.
right
We need
now.
more.
Is there anyone else who does what Bernie does?
Yeah.
or-
We got a second person, her name's Kelsey, she's on second shift. And then we just hired one for Auburn, first shift, but she's gonna be in training next week. So, and I'm so excited because she fits my criteria. So
If you
she's-
know anyone that would love, that was looking for help.
Yeah, we are looking. Yes, sir, I see you here now.
I had a question about the shelters.
Yeah,
So you're saying the population of the shelters is primarily male.
yeah.
Does that mean that there is more females on the street? Or is there more females that are homeless who don't have access to the shelter? Should there be feminine
goes-
products
yeah.
that are in these kits? Does that mean they can't get access to shelter?
Well, just to say, there's things that these homeless ladies that are homeless and choose to be, to get their feminine and all that, I refer them to a lot of churches and stuff like that that come to me, hey, I got this, let me know. We do have more females coming aboard, like coming out that choose to be homeless. And I'm saying that because I'm dealing with a lot of them right now, and the same old. But they really look forward to meeting up with me. Like Hope Haven has shelters for females, which is on the top level, 5th floor. Some of them that are paralyzed, they can't go. They're in wheelchairs. Some people that have a hard time walking up and down stairs. And the male's floor is 3rd floor. So it's a difference on if they're incapable of walking in wheelchairs. We try to work with like general assistance. Trinity will try to pay for motels for the ones that cannot go up and downstairs. St. Catherine's is a female shelter. So we have that one, besides Hope Haven. As,
St. Martin Forest.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
female version of St.
yeah,
Martin.
it is, it really is. So and them, St. Martin's, Shelter by Jesus, and Hope Haven, male shelters. So, and they have strict rules, and I will say Hope Haven can be a struggle with dealing with a couple of the workers, the owners. you sneeze wrong, they'll throw you out, put somebody else in. That's how I say it, because you can fight the battle. Some people have mental illness and don't fit the criteria of staying in a shelter due to mental illness. That's when I come aboard, trying to help get them in some shelter, as in motel, hotels, wherever we can get them, hooked up with family members, stuff like that. So it is a battle. It's a struggle, tug of war. But
See, Bonnie, Bernie, one of the things that I learned that I didn't realize is that when we say shelter, I mean, I have like sort of a non-educated idea of shelter of really like the low barrier shelters. Until I found out at St. Martin's and St. Catherine's that they're referral shelters, and they have to come from the police, and they have to come from the aides.
Case management.
So somebody in the homeless, it's not like they can just walk up the door
No.
and stay in the shelter. That's, I guess, called a low barrier shelter, where people can just go in for the day and come back
Come
out.
back.
That's not what we mean by shelter. There.
no, it's night only. And
Yeah.
then, like this gentleman is saying, as you need a case manager or referral from the police department, which I'm always going through, asking the questions, medications, if you have some, are you able to take it on your own? Stuff like that. You have to go through a procedure to get in, because they're really confined and they want to keep everybody safe. Hope Haven, yes, they have their little protocols. You can't roam after a certain time. And you mainly stuck to your cot, bunk bed, wherever you're at. They do have protocols for not to go to the bathroom, but you can't just roam. And men, they keep them separate because they don't want to be accused of sexual abuse, and females too, stuff like that. We just really need to kind of, I want to say build more shelters, but I'm not, because I don't want the dirty looks. But we do, my true beliefs is, and this is my own opinion, I do feel that other cities could put shelters where we could put and get people away, and then safe. Their safety's number one.
Because this is a statewide problem. I dealt
It
with two
is.
people on Beach Street. One was from Madawaska, and the
Yep.
other one was from Naples.
Yeah,
And I said, how'd you come to Lewis? Oh, well, I was shipped here from ambulance or
Yep.
life flight or whatever, and, well, I have no way to get back.
Yep.
And so this isn't just a Lewiston, like, this is a statewide problem.
it is.
But they make their way south, because so far that's the way resources. You go up north, very, very limited.
Yeah.
So.
So Father Creamy, if you had asked about what should you bring when you go out into community outreach, I don't know if we wanted to share a little bit
Yep.
about the things that people really can benefit from when they're really living street level homelessness in the harsh Maine conditions. The first thing that comes to mind for me is socks.
Yeah.
A nice pair of warm, dry socks can go a long way in somebody's day.
Yep. I say sweatshirts, sweatpants, a lot of them just wear ripped jeans, whatever they can get their hands on. There is spots out here that people can get free. The homeless shelters, the homeless people can get free clothing, but they have to be willing and wanting to go and sign up and get help. But mittens, hats, jackets,
Okay, sure.
but what we're starting to say, and I'm starting to hear from other groups that are participating and trying to help with the homeless, is blankets, thrones. I'm just gonna let you know, a lot's been, if it's laying around, I know these poor guys have to keep Kennedy Parkway, but if it's laying around, the city workers will pick it up. So I just kind of wanna let you guys know, if you're gonna donate blankets or anything like that, Trinity could use it. They do give out blankets whenever they get them. Let's see, what other facilities do you think? The hand warmer, things, yes, ma'am. And any, like, used shoes, boots, stuff like that, you can bring it out there. A lot of people will be like, thank you, and run and put them on. Because right now I see a lot of half shirts, shorts, and people are freezing.
We've had a lot of people too that will give us, at Calvary, they'll bring us, wool coats with the lapels. We don't
Yep.
want those, and they don't want them either.
Yep.
Something,
Yeah.
warm and not, no dry clean. Yeah, they don't,
Yeah.
they really
Some
don't
just
want those
wearable,
things.
but
Underwear is something I get asked for a
Yeah.
lot, believe it or not, especially by women. tampons is something.
Yeah.
I've been giving away tampons. I haven't had a period for 5 years. I've been giving away tampons
Yep.
forever.
get that on
Socks is a big one. Yeah. Oh, that was on camera. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Not live stream.
Yeah.
Things that come out of my
Yeah.
mouth. I really am sorry.
Yeah.
But, trash bags again was another big thing.
Yep.
A bottle for water, something they
Yep.
get, a container that they can keep that's not heavy. We've had people ask us for tarps, because they sleep on them. So the
On them or
guys-
over them,
or
yep.
over them, yeah.
Yep.
What else?
Along with tarps, they make those like emergency blankets or
Yes.
emergency
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
covers that don't get wet, but they conduct
Yeah.
heat, so they're really nice.
Yeah.
Do they all have cell phones?
Some of them do.
They, okay, Trinity every other Thursday, I think it's this Thursday, they have Cricket come and donate to give out free cell phones. They just have to have some kind of ID, don't ask me about it, because I don't know all that, but they do give out free cell phones for the homeless. And just to let you guys know, we had Cricket out there, we've had other US Cellular donating, like, just flip phones, the old flip phones that I like. Okay, it's telling my age. They're the best, right? But they donate them and they work. But one thing that it does is, so we can get in touch with them for appointments. So I can meet up with them and I'll walk with them to appointments if I need to. Or this officer, Gagnon, I told you, one of them, hey, I need to bring somebody to this appointment. Can you come with me? You know, because sometimes I will give them a ride, not very many, but only ones I can, are not so violent. But as for cell phones, a lot of places have donated. The state of Maine has donated quite a bit. They lose them. And not to say anything negative, the homeless steal from the homeless. So if they see, they see a phone, just blink your eye, it's gone. Whatever you have for value, you know, things that they can use in their encampment stuff.
Or trade.
The other,
Or trade for a hit or whatever.
that's what I was gonna say, the other
Yeah.
issue with phones is that they don't have a place to charge them consistently, or a charger to connect to the phone, and so that can render a phone pretty useless.
Yeah, but a lot of them will, can't get it to Trinity, can we plug this in? It's every Thursday, Tuesday through Thursday, they're in there plugging it up, and there's outlets that they put outside for the clientele of the homeless to plug in. The Lewiston Library does help with that too, and we might be getting that. Yes,
We have plug outlights,
Yeah.
and we have been thinking about shutting them off, but then they're like, well, maybe it's okay, they're just charging their phones on them, so maybe let them.
So, may I just shed some light on that? Lisbon Street, we had a major problem with transient population down Lisbon Street, and they would, even if the receptacle box was covered, they break it off.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of businesses on Lisbon Street have now pulled their electrical boxes. It is a magnet, so I bet where they camp out by the Basilica is by the electrical boxes. Am I wrong?
Well, one.
It is a magnet.
Yeah.
So
they-
it's just
That's where they do sit out.
something to be, you know, again, just throwing that out there. That is something that they desire.
Just put a big charging station in the tank.
Well, I was just thinking that.
Pay for that.
They used to have that in the ER, in the waiting room, there was a big strip of them, and people would come in and charge it.
Yep.
Then it caught on fire, and took it out.
yeah.
Is there a magic number of like at least 2 people, but no more than kind of sweet spot? Like,
Well, you don't wanna look like a gang showing up,
right,
so.
where's that number?
Right, right. I know, my buddy system is one of these guys, or both, we 3 of us. And when they see the guys in blue, they think they're the bad guys, but believe it or not, these guys are saviors. They adore these guys, they're really nice.
I would say 2 to 3, to answer your question directly. I'd say 2 to 3. You go any more than that, they're gonna be very standoffish until you explain, okay?
Why?
So I would say,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do this in an organized fashion, I'd do like a Google map. Let's say if you're gonna go and hit Kennedy Park, okay? I would have a car
let's say one of your vehicles with someone in it that stays with the bags, okay? Well, I mean, they're looking for guidance, so I mean, I guess, and then you have a cell, let's say you're gonna stay in the car, you're gonna be the command post, so to speak. And then you're gonna have team A, B, C, and D by twos. And you know on the map where they're going, right? And then they all have cell phones. So if there is something that goes down, or you have a rough idea where they're at, and you can call 911, because if something goes down and someone grabs their cell phone, well, you know, then what, right? So having that other resource centrally located so that they can, you know, you have your window down, you can hear. If someone yells, you know, but I would stay on the street. I wouldn't, you know, or maybe you'll probably go into a driveway, but I wouldn't be going down any of the alleys or anything like that. Now, if you go during the day, you want to walk around, that's up to you. But still, I would have an organized format as far as where team A, where team B, where team C is. Okay? Just a thought.
And then a follow-up, should we not even carry a wallet with us and just have an ID in our pocket?
I think it's more about what's visible, right? I mean, I think that people aren't
It's what's visible.
very likely going to go in your back pocket, but I'm looking at this purse over here and it's mighty enticing.
You can carry your wallet. Ladies, no purses.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we find them. We found them right behind the library. There's a vacant lot, and we found 3 purses. You know, they were probably taken out of cars, you know, but again,
These are left, but everything else is gone.
right. So, you know, just no need to entice them. If, you know, you're going to have your bags or you're going to have a backpack with whatever kit you're going to put together, and someone will probably ask you for your backpack. I kid you not. You know, because they're always looking for you know, bags. But that is my thought on. Did that answer your question or shed a little? Okay.
Well, I'm going to take a moment to share another thought I have, and hopefully it'll put a little bit of, I suspect that once outreach starts, one or many of you in the room will experience almost too positive a encounter with somebody who's either straight out homeless or food insecure or something like that. And I think you might find yourself trying to say, hey, how can I end this conversation? You know, I've provided what I have, and they keep talking to me, you know?
Just say, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Keep it short, sweet, and I don't get any riffraff, even if I'm on by myself, walking the outreach by myself or with a colleague. I go with a couple of coworkers with me, and they're like, Bernie, they'll be sitting and chit-chatting with them, and I'm already hit 6 clients. And I'm like, come on, girls, let's go. They're all like, okay. I said, I'll see you guys later. I'll be back out later on, and keep it short, sweet, to the point. That's it. Just say, I gotta go. I'm sorry, but we'll be back at another time.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's more inviting, like you're letting them know. But then if you don't, I can be meet up at this place, you know, out here in the public,
You know,
if you need help.
another thing is think with your head. You're thinking with your heart, but also think with your head.
Right.
Yeah.
And if someone asks you something that you're kind of like, well, they probably could this once, I would refrain. I'd say, look, if I do that for you, I have to do that for everybody else, and that just doesn't seem appropriate, right? Like if someone says, hey, I need to call my brother John. Can I borrow your phone? No, unfortunately, you know, you can't. This isn't my phone. Just pick up a line. This isn't my phone. This is just for us. I wouldn't let anybody borrow your phone because they're gonna run off.
Just kiss it goodbye.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
You say that with certainty.
Goodbye.
It's a hot commodity because.
It's not
a
coming
phone,
back.
They go and they give to their buddy, hey, I need this for, hey, this is worth
I'll
probably
give you
$20,
this.
you know?
Yeah.
It's a life to you. I mean, if I would lose this is a lifeline, right? A lot more than this.
John lost his in the trash compactor at the dump.
Oh, well, you know, I'm sure he paid for that. But again,
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of a partner, right? So if I see Bernie going down a rabbit hole with somebody, I can intervene and be like, Bernie, we gotta go, like, we'll be back. And so It's always nice to watch out for your partner if
To have
they're,
each other's back.
if they're going down a rabbit hole or getting stuck in a conversation that isn't helpful.
That's right.
Are there any places not to go? That you could think of that are more on the side of sketchy?
I wouldn't necessarily go looking for places. I think your best bet is to stay around the Kennedy Park area. A lot of them hang out in that area. That's where Trinity is. That's where the porta potties are. That's where the public bathrooms are. We don't have any like big encampments you're gonna find anywhere. So your best bet is to stay in that area and let them come to you rather than you go looking for places.
So we don't have like the tents like they have in Portland?
We have very few and they're smaller groups. We don't have huge.
And that is part of really what Officer Tozer, that's what he's been assigned, even though he didn't think that's what he was gonna be doing.
Yeah.
His assignment really is when we find there's encampment, he goes out, and if he can make contact with somebody, he gets him in contact with Bernie.
He'll track me down.
And, you know, and we use a lot of discretion.
We have- No.
No, they're gonna be moved out of the parking garage, they're not gonna be in a parking garage, because they've just been creating too many issues. And it's just not safe for the public. You know, at a certain point, we gotta say, okay, what's safe for them, but what's safe for everybody else? And, yeah, so no parking garages. Matter of fact, the city's hired a private security company just to check parking garages. Because, especially in the wintertime, that's where they end up. But with that, they break into cars, they leave needles, they defecate, they urinate, they spray paint, there's a lot of damage that goes on to the property.
Yeah, I've seen it.
There we go.
Some of the parking garages are pretty bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about, is there any danger or anything you'd advise if we have bags in our car and we drive around, we see people like with a sign on the side handing out a bag on, like, no issues with that?
If you're gonna get out, just keep your car locked. It's all about it's about opportunity. If there's opportunity there, they're gonna take it, so.
Oh, thank you.
Bernie, with your 200 or 150 encounters, is it all new people per month? Or is this?
No,
some of
it's, some are new and some are the old ones. We're seeing more new faces now than we have with the older ones. I thought I got some people outskirts, but they're starting to come back. I hate to say, they are starting to come back. I'm seeing new familiar faces, but I'm also dealing with people from out of state. Chicago, New York, yeah, and it's a mixture of all, yeah.
How many people are you talking that are homeless in the Lewiston area? Is it
I can't.
There isn't good data right now. Yeah.
There's no standard data on it. We're just going by like Ryan's record. That's positive, mine's positive, but I do my outreach that is not on his paperwork. Because when I go out by myself on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm usually checking in with people, meeting up with new groups of people and talking with them and just sitting down, talking, chit-chatting with them at the library, different spots. Or whenever Tozer calls me, hey Bernie, there's 3 new people. Can you come see it in Manhattan? Where were they coming from? Montana. So, and I mean, they're coming from all over, so.
How do they get here?
Okay, the thing that we all hear the most.
One-way bus ticket.
One-way bus ticket. That's their way out of getting a freebie.
It happens in a lot of communities. It's
It
the
does.
way that, they say spend less money, buying some bus tickets than I would actually addressing the problem in the community. And so
Yeah.
folks
In
get
all
shipped
honesty,
around.
I've given many one bus I've been guilty of that.
I'm not saying that none of us are guilty of it.
Because they tell me they need to go there.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you a one-way bus ticket, because, I need to get a ticket to Montana. It's all right, well, I can give you a round-trip ticket to Montana.
No, but
So I'll
most,
give you a one-way ticket to Montana.
okay, so like, you're telling them, like, I'll give you a ticket to go to Montana, but really sometimes you're left in the wind. I've got to get there, my family's there, or I've got to get there, my mom's sick, my brother's sick, my cousin's sick. Okay, give me an address and I can get you a ticket to go. It's not don't feel guilty, because trust me, you're not the only one. Okay?
Same thing with the ER, they'll
I was just said it.
People-
Yeah.
we would have
It's a discharge
people in
plan.
ER for
Yeah.
months at a
Mhm.
time, like
Yep.
literally were ER patients for
Yep.
months, 9 months, 8
Yep.
months, 3 months. And our only solution was a bus ticket, and nurses would sometimes say, reach in.
Yep.
But
Yep.
we often did that and sent people to.
Yeah.
We also run into like when the cavalry was open for the shelter or the COVID shelters we had, people hear about that and
Yep.
they'll either send them or they ask to come, and then those things end, and now they're here.
Yep.
Yep.
So a lot of those things happen.
So it comes and goes, you know, it does.
Yep.
There you go, sir.
So we were talking about areas in the community. I'm thinking of the cemetery on the west side of Main Street, or the island off of Veterans Bridge. Is that like
So
bad news or just
No,
people encamping?
we don't really have many people there anymore.
So,
The island is CMP owned, and they did a big cleanup there last year, spent a lot of money getting that cleaned up. So they've asked me to not allow people there anymore. So there's very few people there now. The cemetery is, they come and go. It's nothing steady. We really don't have a lot of big encampments. For right now, a lot of it is them hanging out in Kennedy Park in the downtown area for the entire day. And then at 10 o'clock, the park closes, so they go find an alley or a doorway or somewhere, a hallway to sleep in for the night. And
where they're
first thing-
not seen.
First thing in the morning, they're right back in Kennedy Park.
Yeah.
That's the majority of what our homeless community is doing right now.
Or if you're Main Street, if they're on the island panhandling.
Yep.
Or sometimes you'll see them in Auburn, Center Street, Turner Street.
Yeah.
That's a hot spot for, if you wanna, try to use that as a target, but yeah.
We don't, yeah.
We do have a schedule, community complex is willing to rate, on the outskirts, not on the outskirts, but we look at Kennedy Park and we're willing to have that space to be open for you to, have your person sitting or meet up, bathrooms that you can use there, it's gonna be warm, we have a parking lot that you can all park in, so you're all together, just let us know when you need that space and you'll have Kennedy Park right there.
So we meet someone who is in crisis, and we're gonna call the police, and the police are on their way. What are some strategies, suggestions? What do we do while we're waiting for the professional help to arrive?
I'd say it depends on the situation. If you feel like you're in danger, I would give the best description that you can, and we'll get out of there, and we'll come deal with the rest.
So we could actually leave?
Yeah, as long as you give a good description of what the person looks like and where they are, we can usually find them. Just call 911 and we'll be there.
The dispatcher will walk you through, asking what, how they breathe in, do you feel a pulse? Some people don't want to touch them, and that's fine too, weekend, if you guys want to get, involved in having Narcan,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something that you guys can decide. I'm sure any concepts, or we can try to get you guys some, but,
Yep.
for
I
the
got
most
a-
part, a lot of them carry Narcan. What's that?
No, no.
Oh, no, it's,
No,
anybody can
it's-
do it now.
it's-
We had 4-hour training.
1 minute training, really.
Yeah. My colleague, Dave Bilodeau, Options Liaison, he can do the training, if you guys.
And what's
want.
nice about Dave is he can supply the
And
naloxone
you'll
as
all
well,
get
so you
a-
all walk away with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
What do you think about the idea of giving out certificates, like $10 certificates to local grocery stores?
I would give, in my own opinion, from what I've seen, no money. None. Even if it's no.
I'm thinking like a web market.
You know, I've always just carried a box of granola bars and waters in my car and offered that as an alternative. You get really slippery when you're talking about gift certificates because they really are cash value. It's stealing, there's,
They
there's
know
some
their
risk
ways
in
around
that.
it, yeah.
Or they'll just trade it, like, hey, I'll
Yeah.
give you this if you go buy me
Yeah.
$5 worth of beer.
No. I say no cash, no gift certificates, none of that. If you want to do anything, granola bars, cereal bars, case of water, stuff like that, pack up your bag and hand out one of each, stuff like that. I mean, I would not, anything that has to do around money, we're trying to stay away from that. Because once you do one, you're gonna get a whole shump load. A whole shump, yeah.
I want to give everyone a chance. One of the things I did want to ask before, because I want to keep all your time, thank you very much for coming. I was wondering what would you say, because there's 25 people here who are on your side trying to support the work that you're doing. What would be the best thing we could do to help you? What would you want to say? Look, you got some people who are saying, look, I'm willing to assist in what way? What would you really need?
Good question.
Bus fund still open? We fire up that bus fund? No, we joke, all kidding aside.
We do,
But
we
we
do.
have run into people that they would be willing to go visit their uncle in wherever.
Yeah.
But we've just run into so much red tape that we can't even facilitate that. So, I mean, I'm saying jokingly, but that is one thing that.
Well, and that's one of the things I did think
We
of,
struggle
as something that would give you that says, look, if I have a stack of these, it'd be easy,
I think giving them a resource. I've had people ask me oftentimes, Gagnon, like the Agora, steps of the old St. Patrick's Church,
Yeah.
that's a hot spot. They all go in the bushes right there, okay?
Yeah.
The owner is beside herself. She's reached out to City Hall, this and that. So we really try to give it special attention. We were there the other morning. We asked 3 of them to move along. Gagnon, where do we go? I can't go to Kennedy Park, I can't go here, I can't go there, Sometimes I just feel like I don't know where you can go. You just can't be on someone's private property and you can't be doing anything that's illegal. So I tell them, like, if you truly feel you need your drink, this person I was talking to was an alcoholic, go and do it, but just don't be out in the open where someone's gonna call or we're gonna have to come intervene. But again, we have no day shelter. We have no place to say, you're allowed here, go here. So again, if there would be that place, that would be nice. But again.
But wouldn't that open up a can of worms?
What's that?
If you had a day shelter,
It would.
wouldn't that bring everybody else in also?
Oh, it would.
It would.
You build it, they will come. You're absolutely correct.
So then we're gonna have even a bigger problem.
Correct.
But you have to think about what now, not what if.
Yeah,
You
we're
have
not
to think
solving the
about
problem.
what now. You have to think about what now can we do? Like, what's gonna happen in a year? Who knows? But what can we do now? So it's easy to get overwhelmed with.
Yes.
So you mentioned a resource, and I was speaking with some folks over in Auburn recently, and they have been giving out, working with a local laundry facility to give out tokens basically to be able to do laundry at the laundry facility. It goes a long way to have a clean pair of clothing. And so that might be something, a collaboration or a partnership that might work. But I think the best thing that folks can do is educate yourself on homeless services and what works and the best practices. Because the reality is there is that thought process, if we build it, they will come. But the reality is if we build a day shelter or a homeless shelter, we're not going to create more individuals who are homeless. The individuals who are homeless are out there. They may be hiding in this community, they may be in a different community. They're still part of our greater state, they're part of the greater country, really, when you think about it. So not that Lewiston should need to solve the problems for everybody, but I want to just challenge the idea that building resources where we can stabilize somebody and get them a clean shower and a pair of clothes and their identification and a place to store their belongings and a place to get mail so that they can get a job. Because it's really challenging to go and apply for a job when you don't have a secure place to leave your belongings, when you're showing up in smelly, dirty old clothes, when you don't have a place to even put down as an address to apply to that job with. So it becomes a really uphill battle without those resources in place. But it's true, you will get additional folks from other communities because the resources are so scarce throughout the state.
And now, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm just saying it with a lot of love. Don't ever bring them in your home.
Yes, God.
Don't ever bring them in your home, okay? You're asking for amounts of trouble, okay? I know this one lady I went to, a friend of mine that recently passed, God bless his soul, but his daughter let somebody come in with kids. Next day, she went to work, she came home, nothing. absolutely nothing. They cleaned her out, inside and out. Don't ever, and I say that with a strong, strong passion. Don't ever let them in your home. Not to shower, nothing. There is places out here that they can shower and they can go to, and get food. That's what I'm here for, okay? So, I say that really strongly, don't ever let
Will
them
they
in.
ask us for those resources, and should we have like a list that we can, because right now, obviously, none of us really know that stuff.
So like a lot of people we deal with, when they're hungry, well, I'm hungry, I need money for food. We've seen it with our own eyes. People from churches pack lunch, hand them it, I didn't want this. And I was just like, I go, I'm gonna hurt somebody today. I've had enough today. But you see it all the time. I know most, well, I should say some, not most. They want the fix. They want that. They can ask for something, just don't ever put them in your home. Don't even let them know where you're living, okay? Don't even let them encampment on your property, because you're asking for a whole new ballgame, okay? And I say that with a strong heart.
One thing I used to say to Bim is that we would listen to them and listen to the story. But in my experience, it's just don't believe anything they tell you, because it's not, like you're not going to solve their problem. You don't know what world they lived in terms of what they did to survive, and the stories they told to survive, and the stories that worked. So that's why I work with especially some newbies in this, and they're like, I just met a man who, he has 7 kids and 3 of them died in a fire, and I'm like, really, it may be true, it may not be true, but you don't make any decisions based on that.
They say what they want to say to get what they need and want. So, trying to tell you, don't ever, please don't. Not on your property, nowhere. Just don't even let them know where you're staying.
We've even kicked them off the steps of community concepts.
Yep. We have multiple.
I mean, you guys have your signage,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
only because
Yeah.
they can't get in their building, they can't get out, it's not,
Yeah.
so, I say that, and well, I'm trying, but the thing is it turns into a trespassing, borderline criminal issue, or if you let them in your home, it turns into a civil issue, and good luck getting them out, because then you have to go through civil court.
And
have
that's a
them
process.
Out of your own home that you own, because they're renters.
Yeah.
So that's why we're saying pull that line, because that.
Once you let one, you're gonna have a whole nick and cranny of them.
Yeah.
And then when you guys call, you gotta take the procedures of evicting them. And no one wants to hear that. No one. It's a process.
Yeah.
And it costs us so much money. So, if anything you can help with, snacks, water, something to keep them warm, it's getting cold out. Yes, sir.
Don't let them use your address so they get their mail there.
Thank you.
That establishes residency.
Yeah, it does.
And then, yeah.
It really does. So, and just to let you guys know, there's like Trinity Church, they can use the address. Department of Human Services, they can use the address. A lot of them do have set up for all that good stuff. I make sure no one goes without and they get what they need. And if you have a question, I've got cards in my car. I can give you guys a card. But that doesn't mean to call me every nick and cranny about them. Just making that popular, because I get calls. I don't mind, I really don't. But
So really, thank you for taking your time. We know it's not an easy job, and it's not been any easier given the last year and what's happened all over the state and if you watch the news, so.
If anybody wants to come and walk along, Bernie and I walk Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Fridays, you're more than welcome.
Just one or 2 people, we don't want a whole train, but,
Because if we
just
bring
so
a
you
whole
kinda get a
line,
feel for it before
Right.
you guys go out.
Go out.
Just so you guys can see.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
yeah.
It's kind of like a ride along.
No. And on Thursdays, just to let everybody know, I do start from the Trinity about 10:30. It can come, give and take a little bit, But I start from the Trinity, I work, get releases, and then I walk along with some colleagues. If you guys want to walk along and meet other clients, and while I'm out in the area, I don't mind taking people along too. Okay?